Recreation and Parks Commission. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr.
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Brandy, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kelly Watson,
Present.
Commissioner Julie Stolnak,
Present.
Commissioner Dave Loops,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Lee Davis,
Present.
and Chairperson Bob Moda.
I am here. Thank you. There are no presentations tonight. Public communications related to commission business only. I don't see any. Brandy, were there any written? Okay, with that, we'll close public communications. Consent calendar. Approval of the minutes of the Recreation and Parks Commission meeting of January 18th, 2023. Anyone?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's 5-0. Moving right along, unfinished business. Consideration and possible action to amend the Recreation and Parks Commission bylaws. The recommendation is to review and approve it. Ally, go
Yes.
ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the Commission. Tonight, I invited Deputy City Manager Barbara Voss to attend to speak a little bit about the updates. As you recall, we went over the updates last month with the Commission, and there were a couple of questions. And so we've invited Barbara here to share any updates and or allow you to ask questions specifically to Barbara. So I'll turn it over to you, Barbara, if you want to start.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. The bylaw project started actually last year, and council asked us to look at all of the bylaws and try to create some uniformity and consistency across all of the CCBs. Obviously, there are specific things in each of the CCBs that cannot all be the same, but what we did was we attempted to review all of the bylaws and develop some language that could be consistent throughout. So what you see in your amended bylaws are changes related to selection of members. Some of the CCBs were allowing the chair and the vice chair to review applications and make recommendations to city council. Other CCBs were not doing that at all and had no idea about that. So we're putting that in all the bylaws that the chair and vice chair of each CCB, commission, committee, or board can offer that input to council. Qualifications can be challenging because some of the CCBs require residency, other are live or work in El Segundo, and then in the case of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, it's live, work, or attend high school in El Segundo. So we found that that needed to stay individualized to the CCB because we didn't want to say, you know, there could be a high school student on the Investment Advisory Committee, for example. So in the case of the Recreation and Parks Commission, it's required to be residents, and that's in your bylaws. Interviews, we're trying to streamline the interview process. We were having, and it's kind of a challenging thing to do with everyone's schedules, but we were having interviews almost monthly, trying to fill all the vacancies and all the different, there's 9 CCBs in El Segundo. So we're trying to do twice a year interviews. So when the vacancies come up, then we collect them all and wait to the half-year point and have the interviews and hopefully streamline that process internally and also to create consistent expectations from the boards and commissions. The terms, your terms are 4 years by city ordinance. Other CCBs are now 3 years, so it's 3 or 4 years depending. Removing a member, just clarifying that you serve at the pleasure of city council, as you all know, and that by a majority vote of city council, any member of any board could be removed. The removing a member due to absences, I wanted to highlight that language because I think in your bylaws that you have before you, it's still a little bit unclear. So the language is that I'm proposing this evening is when a member has 3 or more absences within a 12-month period, the Recreation and Parks Commission may recommend the removal of the subject member. So if you don't want to recommend it, you can have someone be absent 20 times and doesn't bother any of you, then you're not going to recommend that to council. But then if you do recommend that, because we want to give you some ability to, if you have someone who's just not able to show up, their work schedule changes, they have a sick parent, whatever happens, and they can't attend, you have the opportunity to say, we're recommending removal of this member, and then that will be a recommendation from your commission to city council, and then from a majority vote of city council, that person can be removed. So there is a process for that. It's not just you miss 3, you're out. Nothing like that, but we want to give you that flexibility and that ability to remove a member if it needs, because you're all important. There's 5 seats. If one seat is not performing, then you have that option. Conduct, again, majority of city council vote. We are adding language in all the CCBs that city employees are not eligible. There was some confusion about that. I think one city employee a long time ago served, and every once in a while a city employee will say, I want to be part of a CCB. So across the board, city employees are not eligible. Council asked us to get a rundown of exactly when each of the CCBs are meeting, the time, the fixed time and date. I think you already had that in your bylaws, so that's not a big change. But what council asked was that we make sure we let new members know, here's the meeting date, here's the time, it's gonna be consistent so that there isn't that absences issue, that they're aware when they start. We're asking that there be a joint meeting with city council and a member of each of the CCBs. So it could be the chair, vice chair, or whomever you designate to attend a joint meeting with the city council to talk about what your committee's doing, looking at the larger picture of what all of our 9 CCBs are doing, and communicate back and forth with council on that. Work plan update. So depending on the CCB, sometimes it's really clear what the mission is, other times it's not as clear. So council's looking for the CCBs to develop a work plan and give them an update once a year saying, this is what we're working on, are we going in the right direction? I don't think in this case it would be a challenge for this commission, but in some cases, they need a little direction. Let's keep it at that. Assistance of staff, we wanted to add some language that the director, the department head, that is the designated staff person for your commission, has the ability to decide whether or not they have the adequate staffing to perform tasks that the CCB asks them to perform. Usually not a problem. In some cases, people will quit or move on to other jobs or whatever happens. They're short-staffed. They just can't allocate the time and resources. So we just wanted to give the discretion to the director to determine and work out with each of the CCBs. Okay, we can't do that right now, but can we wait a month? I'm hiring someone, whatever it might be, to get that flexibility. The CCB recess, sometimes CCBs will go, and again, I don't think it's the case for this, it's not the case for this commission, but they will kind of just run out of things to work on or not feel like they're being productive. And so this gives council the ability to say, okay, let's have a cooling off or just a pause in this and come back in 6 months and see if we want to redo it again or get it started again and what are we going to be working on. And then finally, dissolution. This commission is established by ordinance, so it would be a resolution amending the ordinance. I mean, it would be a big process. In some cases, a commission may have completed the work that council asked them to do, and it's time for them to be dissolved. So we don't have commissions that are sitting around for years and years and years without a lot of work to do. And that is it. We have your regular meeting times. I'm presenting this to council on Tuesday. We have your meeting times third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. And those are the amendments, if you have any questions.
Anyone have a question? I do.
Okay.
Page 4 of the part about the El Segundo City employee eligibility.
Yes.
If they're a resident and they are not and they work for the city, so they're an employee of the city, but not in this particular department, so recreation and parks. can they be on? I know what you said, so now I'm asking the question. Why can't they be on this commission?
The why part, I'm not 100% clear on. What I do know is that it's a consistent decision that council made across the board
Council made the decision recently?
on August 16th.
Okay, so this is new.
Yes,
Okay.
it is new, and as I mentioned, some commissions considered employees and others didn't. Has there been an employee on this commission? I don't know.
Yes,
Some
Oh.
for close to 25 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, and she was fantastic, and Margie Randall.
Oh, yes.
So,
Margie's fantastic.
um,
Yeah. So you would
This-
like to ask council to consider allowing employees to
I
serve on
would-
this commission?
So would I.
if commission agrees, that we would like to, I believe that I would like to, if they're an employee of the city, and they live, and they've completed all the rest of the requirements, that as long as they don't work in this particular department, they should, I feel they should be able to be on this commission.
Okay, that's something that I can bring before council next Tuesday.
Okay?
When I present all of these bylaws, I will let them know of your recommendation. If that, and there may be other questions, but if you're approving with that provision, then I can let the council know that you've approved with that provision, and they can decide whether or not they want to allow it.
Okay, we'll get a motion to do that in just a minute, and see if there's a second up here. There might not be, but, are there any other questions for Barbara?
Give me a second.
Sure.
Do you mind?
And,
Yeah, page 2 of 2, the part you talked about, the joint meeting with the city council.
yeah,
It reads as if all 5 members are at that joint meeting, but then you said that there's only one representative. Should that language be a representative from the Recreation Parks Commission will participate, just to be clear?
let me see, page 2 you said?
Page 2 of 4 at the bottom, the section 4, joint meeting with city council.
Ah, that should be changed. Let me see, I've got all the bylaws right here, how it's worded in some other bylaws.
Or was this the one like we did in end of August, where we had a joint meeting with all of us there?
Well, that was a special.
That was it special?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted it back.
No, that's fine. So I think they're asking, can we just make it clear that it only needs to be one person?
Absolutely.
Right? One member of the,
I thought that,
That'd be a big meeting if all the commissions. were there.
right. So maybe we
Yeah,
can
like
just get
section 5 says,
clarification.
a member of the commission who
Yeah.
will
But
present an update.
We did have a joint meeting last year, so that's what I actually thought it meant, so this is new.
Right, and we may have other special meetings
Right.
where all 5 of us attend if there's a particular reason.
Reason.
Right.
But that annual meeting,
Just
I don't
one.
think it needs to be all 5 of us.
I would say, I think they wanted to leave it open if you all did want to attend, you're welcome to attend, but one representative, 2 representatives at your discretion. You all do not need to attend.
okay.
At least one member of the Recreation and Parks Commission shall attend? I don't know.
Sure, yeah, I can change that. Randy, are you?
And then
getting-
my other comment was kind of and I don't know if there's a change needed, but it's a little bit odd to me that we're going to present, or a member of the commission will present to the city council on the committee's work plan and progress, but a lot of our work is dictated by them, right? So it's kind of like, I'm not sure how that works. Like, are we really allowed now to tell them what we're working on? Because that's kind of how that reads. Again, I'm just throwing it out there. And then the fact
Well-
that the Recreation Parks Commission may be placed on extended recess, or short or extended recess, but we're telling them what we're going to do, and then they put us on recess. I'm not that would happen, but it's just kind of
But it could.
at odds with each other a little bit. I'm not suggesting any changes, but
Yeah.
something to think about.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think the work plan update in this case would be, you know what council is asking you to work on. just update them on the projects that you're working on and the status of them, and generally what you're deliberating over and what you're advising on in any given period of time.
Don't read so deeply into it, Dave.
No, I think each committee, commission, and board is a little different.
Sure.
So you'll have an easier time with this one than maybe some others would.
Right, fair enough.
I had something. I also pointed out to Brandy that there were several word changes here from committee to commission. So throughout, there was a lot of committees, and this should all be commission.
Ah, thank you.
Oh, in ours. Gotcha.
We'll make that correction. And Brandy left, so I want to make sure I'm taking notes.
Anybody see anything?
Oh,
else?
that's not for that.
No, I just need notes of what their changes are.
Oh, yes, we've got them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget anything.
Anything?
No, we've got them.
So I'd like to make that motion that I did say, to approve with the modification if, what I said, city employee,
Not employed by the Recreation Department.
correct,
Right, we'll make
So
sure
it's going to
we
be
get all that.
recreation, park, and library,
Right.
right?
and
Right.
library.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
And we'll
Barbara,
clarify
thank you.
that, correct those commissions, committee errors, and we'll also clarify that one, a member of,
And
The
yes,
commission.
it's, again, this is their decision, but obviously.
no, I understand.
But
Yeah, you want to weigh in.
We'll throw it back at them.
Okay, fair
Thank you
enough. All
very
right.
much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
And thank you for all the clarifications. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone, on that one. Athletic field and facility use allocation policy, the recommendation is to review and approve. And Ally, it's up to you.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the commission. As you all recall, last month, we went over the field and allocation policy, and the commission had some questions in particular about the closure of the field, the dates. And so I have Joseph Casillas, our acting superintendent, and Sean Green are going to just do a very short presentation on their proposed language and the renovation schedule.
Good evening, Park Commissioners. The topic that we're going to be picking up are last from July, the July one, right? The bullet with Stevenson Field.
So it's on this.
That's the old one. So we're presenting you with the new park closure, field closure for July. Here's the screenshot for that. Yeah.
There you go.
So, I guess in the past meeting, the July 5th closure was a topic. So we have discussed it, me and Sean, with a closure of July 15th. And it would continue open if Babe Ruth would go into tournament play, post play, and continue their road down towards the World Series. But if they were to lose like the first round or second round, then we'd actually have the time to close it July 15th. But if it exceeds July 15th, we would allow it and permit it to their final last game. Then we would close it down for renovation.
That's satisfactory. That is satisfactory, because All-Stars is part of their season, so.
Right.
And this would take care of that.
You know, continue with practice and games and tournaments. So it would just go as go after July 15th. So if you exceed that July 15th, it would be allowed and permitted into your last game. And then we would close the fields for renovation.
So there are no field activities at Richmond during the summer, like softball or kickball or anything like that? No?
No, not during the summer. That's the only time we can renovate those fields with the field closure because of the school. Everything else is going year-round until that time. So the only time we can overseed and fertilize the infields and do work on the brake dust and that is during those summer months when school is closed.
Okay.
If we allowed it, they would definitely use it though.
Yes.
If you wanted me to, I could get kickball games going, whatever you want, so.
Yeah,
But it's the only time we can get it shut down.
Yeah.
throughout the year.
We try to give it, the fields as much play as we can, but like we all know, we have grass fields, so we have to have a rest period and overseeding process and renovation process.
Go ahead. Dave.
Maybe this isn't, I think it fits in here. Where is the, several years ago, we did the alternating Richmond, the deep dethatch and the big whole thing, not just the closure. Is that
Right.
embedded in this as well?
For Richmond?
It was
Or for all
Richmond
this?
and Brett were the two that we had.
Yeah,
what,
now we
maybe
just
3 or
do
4
it
years
pretty
ago?
now we do the renovations pretty much yearly. Now, before we used to have that transition because we didn't, at the time, I don't think we had AYSO soccer at that field, so we'd rotate adult softball back and forth. Wasn't that the issue back then?
That was before.
Yeah, that was before. Now, we have AYSO back on George Brett, so that's pretty much going almost year-round, except for the months of December and January.
Right, but is that
Yeah, the process is still going, the scalping.
scalping and
Yeah,
dethatching and?
we also bumped up the mowing to twice a week now, so it's keeping the blades down, the blade of the grass to 1.5 inches to 2 inches. During soccer, we let it grow a little longer, just because there's so much foot traffic on the fields.
So we, at the time, again, 3 or 4 years ago, the department had outsourced that and
Right.
done a full thing. Are you talking about that full outsourcing with all the big, huge machines? That's gonna happen on both
Yeah.
fields every year?
Yeah,
Awesome.
dethatching. We'll dethatch it, overseed it, and with the mowing, if you go out there right now to like Stevenson Field and majority of our fields, they're pretty green right now and cut really low. Whereas before, years ago, they used to be really thatched. You know, they could be anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. Now we're trying to maintain that 1.5 inch to 2.5 inches in the outfield. Infield play will be at about 1.5 inches.
So we had to do the alternating because it was expensive. That's been handled.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
with our new contract.
That's
so.
great. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Okay. Seeing no other comments, I'm going to recommend approval with the change that we've seen tonight.
Can I ask a question that's not about field renovation?
Well, oh, I'm sorry, but we're about the whole policy right now.
That's what I
Okay,
mean, the whole,
so
yes.
Go right ahead.
Right, so I had a question about football and cheer, El Segundo Football and Cheer. Is that a nonprofit organization?
You want to step up to that?
And is it a, everybody plays, meaning anyone
Yes.
that they don't have required tryouts?
I always equate it to like, I always remembered like Little League, whatever those rules are. Sean Green plays right field for 3 innings of the 6 innings. They have all those NPR rules where they have 15 minimum, whatever it is. I don't know exactly what the rules are, but it's everybody plays. Community-based, all nonprofit.
Okay, so I noticed that they've been added, and it says as inaugural members, but inaugural is from the beginning, and these are not. So you had mentioned that you could change that language?
Yes, because we haven't gotten it approved yet, so we can take a look at that one. Do you know what page that's on?
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Okay, I can take a look at that and get that changed before you guys.
Then you guys can just request that change, and it'll be just like what Barbara did. We'll go
Yeah.
ahead and make the change, and then we'll
With that.
consider it approved.
Okay, so just a comment about that, you know, we're adding another sports organization to the spring. Their primary season's the spring, and they're primarily using campus. Campus already had more demand than supply of slots for spring. And this is affecting a lot of kids. So even though it's, you know, it's lacrosse's primary season, what's the numbers in lacrosse now? They've got 300 kids?
Nah, probably not that many. They're probably a little less than that.
So they have less than 300 kids. AYSO's secondary season, and they have 350 kids competing for, you know, slots and trying to slot in games. And now we're adding another sport that now gets priority because it's their primary season, which is going to push AYSO's 350 kids down in terms of being able to get on that field. I appreciate we opened Raytheon, and maybe they're using that, although I think there's something about the grass being too long for the youngers.
It's pretty booked by baseball and softball right now, too.
Well, that's fascinating. Okay, so I guess I'm looking at, we've had a problem with, this problem's been getting bigger for the last 10 years. soccer's not going away, it's not getting smaller, and I just feel like we're not building enough fields to accommodate, and yet we're adding more sports. So what can we do about this? I'm just concerned we're adding another group to the sports council. And I know they voted themselves, that, you know,
Right.
this council voted them on, that makes sense, but we're just not, I just don't feel like we're planning for the future.
So I've got a couple things that I would say back to the conversation is, football went away in this town, and they came and filled the spot. So we didn't have football, and he came back and was able to fill football. So I agree, there's 300 kids that are missing out potentially a little bit, but you're having a whole sport that's not being represented at all at the youth level. So that would be my football youth side of that conversation. We've also worked really hard with AYSO, so I have a feeling we've worked really hard to give them back space. So lacrosse and football gave back more space for AYSO. And then football is taking the same footprint as the old football program that went away 2 years ago. So I understand where you're coming from, but there's also,
But there was also the middle school back then, and I think football was also on Washington, weren't they, or on the?
they were.
Yeah. So are they on Washington, or are people on Washington now?
We have people in Washington. Our club soccer groups use that a little bit. AYSO could go out there and use that if they'd like. We can definitely work some things out. But I agree with you. You're right. There's a lot of impact in the spring for sure. I mean, it's you could build me 5 more fields and I would be able to reserve them for us for sure, no question.
Yeah. So are you saying then that we've conceded that Washington is now an available sports field?
I don't think we can make that official
Declaration?
declaration.
Publicly, yeah,
See
publicly.
what I did there?
You know, and just if I can jump in,
See how that almost slid right in?
so you're the deciding body. So if you wanted to make a change to that, you could do that. It would not come at a staff level. You guys,
What would it take for us to do that? A
well,
motion?
really, it would have been something that I would have loved for us to discuss when we had the joint meeting with the sports council, because we've gone kind of now through this process, and so we'd have to go backwards, right? I mean, I would assume we'd want to
I'm not sure
meet.
they knew that was on the table, though, because people have been, I think all the sports groups have been asking for more fields, and particularly.
Were they
Washington.
in the policy then, at the draft policy?
I don't, do we need that to be in the Youth Sports Council policy? That
I
conversation?
don't think so.
Yeah, I was
no.
gonna say that for Washington Park.
Are you talking about Washington Park, or are you talking about the addition of these new sports being at campus?
Well, I started with, we have a supply and demand problem that would be highly alleviated or go a long way if we gave Sean another field.
Absolutely.
And there's been a lot of groups ask for that in the past.
For Washington?
For Washington to become a field that is in play as a sports field.
Then I think that would be something we can definitely research and get back to the commission. Because I would need to talk with Joseph about upkeep and maintenance. We might need to do some outreach to the neighbors.
I was gonna say, isn't it
Because
gonna be a
that's been an
neighborhood
issue.
impact?
Yeah, so it's something we can look into, and if the commission wants to direct staff to look into that, we can do that.
Okay, could we, folks, please?
We can bring that up, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that would be great.
So-
Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have one other one that I wanted to point out, because I did make a change, I realized this morning. Richmond Field, the last time we went through this, we had a December closure date for December, during Christmas, or,
Yeah.
vacation, and it just does not work with all the million sports. It's just not it made chaos on our schedule, and it was way too hard. So the one other change I'd point out is Richmond is summer. At the last version had it summer and 2 weeks of Christmas. I can't say Christmas break.
Winter break.
Winter break, I'm
It's
sorry.
okay.
Winter break. So that is one change. Not a huge deal, but I want to make sure you guys, that was pointed out.
So
to
we
you.
allowed
Yes.
additional sports.
We have, the main group was El Segundo High School
Right.
softball, because if we closed the softball field and Richmond field, they had nowhere to practice. So we made a decision with Chris at the time and Joseph. So I didn't think it was a big deal, but I did want to mention that those are the 2 changes from the last version you guys approved.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, so I'm gonna go back to my motion to approve with the 2 changes. One, let's go with on page 4, you're gonna fix that.
Yeah, Yeah, the language should be
The language.
existing as
can change
opposed
it.
to inaugural.
Okay. And then the rest and renovation on Stevenson and on Richmond Field.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is 5-0.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
guys.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
And thank you, Joseph. And Ally for making it all happen. We did it.
All right.
All right. New business. Recreation and Parks Commission Chair and Vice Chair elections. The recommendation is to vote and also confirm commission positions. And so with that, Ally, do you want to take it or am I going to take it?
Well, so I just want to quickly go over the recommended commission action is that you elect one Rec and Park Commissioner to act as the Commissioner Chairperson for a term to expire in January 2024, and to elect one Recreation Park Commissioner to act as a Vice Chairperson for a term to expire in January 2024. So I think we've all been through this process before, so I'm going to go ahead and let the chair take over and run the election.
Okay, and it's the same as we did the last time, but do I need to read how it has to happen, or can we just?
No, you can just go ahead.
Okay. Open up for nominations for chairperson.
Before I nominate the person I'm going to nominate, does the person have to accept the nomination?
Yes.
If he will accept the nomination, I'd like to nominate Bob Moda for chair.
I will accept. Are there any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, we'll do a vote.
Yeah, just a roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
All right. Congratulations, Chair.
Thank you. Nominations for vice chair.
If she'll accept, I'd like to nominate Kelly Watson as vice chair.
Okay.
What will you accept?
Lee, no?
Please do. He doesn't get to decide who I nominate.
No, but I don't want to, if he wants to be the vice.
Please be mad at me.
Okay, all right, I accept.
All right.
Any other nominations for vice chair? Well, I have to do it. I have to nominate Lee, and he can decline.
I choose to decline.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
it's
I need all in favor.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Congratulations, Vice Chair
5-0.
Watson.
And Kelly, it had
And
nothing
thank you
to
for
do-
your,
Okay?
thank you, if I may thank Commissioner Davis for his service as the Vice Chair.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Before we go into reports of subcommittees, do we have somebody that wants to speak to the commission? Because we do.
Looks like it.
Huh? So-
They need to be agendized, so they'll be coming next month.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's not, they don't want to do a public communications.
No, they need to, it's an Eagle Scout project, so you guys need to, it needs to be
Okay.
agendized. So with Christopher
I-
out,
I-
we've got to get Joseph up.
I didn't want to
Nope,
tell
you're-
anybody they couldn't talk.
No,
We always like to have people talking.
yes,
Well, they have him here. Does he want to at least speak in public communication about what's going to be agendized?
he can.
Just because he's here?
You want to just, let's offer it up if they would like to
Yeah,
talk.
So you would open back up public communication then?
I'll open it if they want to talk.
Okay.
Don't we have a second one? Oh, we don't
No,
have
we
a
don't
second
have a
one
second
anymore.
one.
Okay. Is that because we don't have an overflow of people wanting to do?
Exactly. We can take,
Yeah, you just can't
Well,
vote
he's
on
all
it tonight.
dressed
no,
up,
we,
too.
no, it's not, and we can't even comment on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
looks like I'm gonna make sure I can do this. I'll make the motion that we open up, public communications.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public communications, you're welcome. Please state your name and, let us know what you want us to hear.
So can I just clarify for the guests? So you're welcome to share, they won't be able to vote tonight. We will have to have you come back. So if you want to just give a brief overview about what you're going to present on next time, that's what I would recommend. So just a quick overview, introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Felix Pope. I'm a Boy Scout with the Troop 773, and I'm hoping to do a service project at Freedom Park. So John Stabile, he's kind of like my mentor, and he noticed he goes on walks through the neighborhood, and he noticed the Freedom Park looked kind of like barren, and I went over to take a look at it, and I thought that it could use a service project to like replant all the flower beds and make it look nice and colorful again. And he's also thinking of working with the Rotary Club to like put a flagpole for like Freedom Park. They'll be like illuminated at night with like a solar light. But next month I'm hoping to come back and like ask for your approval to do this service project.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. How many merit badges?
Oh, a lot.
Wonderful.
That's not the number I was
That's so
looking for. I was
fantastic.
looking for the actual number.
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Appreciate
Thank you.
you. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Quite a few. Very good. Thank you. And with that, we'll close public communications. Ally, do we need to go back to commission positions? For
each of the
for
committees,
each of the subcommittees, or do we want to do that at another time, or
or is it even necessary?
is it necessary?
We haven't been directed to do that, so I would assume you're.
Okay, I'm good with that then.
Because we did that like a year or two ago, right, where everybody reaffirmed what they wanted to work on,
Right.
sort of thing. Are there any openings on any committee?
I don't believe so. Dave
No,
Davis
I don't
still,
Sports?
There are not, but if someone like really wanted to get on Youth Sports Council, I would be willing to give it up, so that we
No,
should
I
have
just,
the.
in general, I
Okay.
was just like,
we're still.
I'm happy with what I'm working on.
Okay,
but
and I'm
just
happy
in case
too.
people aren't, we should probably officially,
I can agendize it, but it would
Okay.
need to be an agendized item.
Oh,
All right.
So why don't we do that? We'll bring back a report
Bring-
next month, just
and-
what the current terms are, and then if there's any discussion.
Yeah,
An update?
sure.
Does that work?
Who's on which committee?
Okay.
And, if somebody wants to change, we can change.
And then
Somebody
just so
wants
I
to be-
know historically, so is that something typically you do every year that you
Well-
do? Or is it just,
It
gonna
usually would
say,
happen
we
when,
did it
when we get a
once.
new member or somebody leaves.
but it might not be a bad idea just to combine that with the annual election of the chair. We can just go over it, so I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll bring it
And-
back next
and-
month. We'll be,
And we have, anytime a new member comes on, we should do that anyway. So that would be sometime in the summer,
okay.
if there are changes. Okay, with that, reports of subcommittees, Aquatic Subcommittee. Lee.
I don't believe we met this go round, and we're still in the works for the plunge. That's about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, so I think that Councilmember Giroux is going to ask to be, he wants to attend, so we will set up a meeting so that we can get the, next month. I think we could,
we have a meeting on the calendar for this month, I think.
okay, I was gonna say, we were gonna meet every month?
Yeah,
Right, and we set a new date, right, and time?
yeah, I think it's next Wednesday at 10.
So as long as that works for everybody. Okay, great.
Perfect, thank you. Transportation Subcommittee, Kelly?
Yes, we did meet this week, and we have something exciting in the works that could potentially solve a lot of what we've been working on in terms of all the different types of transportation.
Oh, you're teasing us. All right, go ahead.
No, I'm totally teasing you because I'm so excited, but I don't want to get so excited and then find out it doesn't work. So,
Okay.
but
Exciting, though.
we have a bunch of things, a bunch of meetings planned now to kind of gather this information, and we might have something very cool to
Yeah.
share.
Great, thank you. Youth Sports Council, Dave?
Yes, Youth Sports Council met. Those meetings are super important for all of the presidents to, not that we eat, but kind of break bread together, just to get to know each other. So a lot of the meeting is just kind of talking about the seasons, talking about what's happening with registration. It's a good way of developing those relationships so that when we do have the field problems, those people, if they get along really well, usually a lot of the problems are solved. And so a lot of the meeting is kind of just the presidents and Sean just talking things over. He goes through what's currently happening, fall, winter, what's happening right now. And then we talked about the fall schedule coming up, what to expect. It goes around the room and he asks each president, how do you feel about the field? Are you good? One at a time, so each one has an opportunity to kind of express any concerns they have. We talked about the athletic field policy. We discussed the slight increase in the per pupil fee that was in the new policy that goes into effect in July. There were no problems with that. It was a really good meeting, and even though there's maybe a public perception that there's rancor among the different groups, they actually really get along extremely well, and they're all volunteers, and they all get that they're just trying to do what's best for kids, and it's a really important, I think, function of the department, and Sean does a great job running the meeting. So, we had a great meeting. Did I miss anything, Rachel? Rachel was there too.
Okay, thank you. Director report. Ally.
Yes, Honorable Chair and members of the commission. I decided each month during my directors, well, that's very small to see, but you all should get this in your packet. If you didn't get it this time, you will get it next time. But this is just to kind of give the commission an idea of all the things that we're working on. This is in addition to our everyday, programming, pickleball, field maintenance, pool being open. These are all the different special projects that we're working on. And we go over this bi-weekly in our staff meeting. I get updates from staff, but I'm going to start sharing this. It's a little bigger. I'll start sharing this with the commission. A couple of things I just want to make sure that the commission understands. We are working on the Rec ID renewal. So either Ryan or Rachel will bring that back in March. And then I'm not going to go through everything because we'll go ahead and send this a copy to you so you can see it. It is, just an internal document. But one of the exciting things that we're doing is we're going to be asking the city council for $10,000 to do some updates to the teen center while we're waiting for the major renovation. So staff have been working on talking with the teens about what do they want to see in there. Public Works has painted the outside of the building. They're getting ready to do the interior. They're going to be cleaning the walls, taking up the gym flooring in the back room, adding some lounge furniture. So I think that'll tide us over until we get to our full renovation project. Also, Jacqueline is our new marketing specialist. She's wonderful. She's going to be working on doing some updates to the website so that we have a website tab for Rec Park Phase 1 improvements so the community can keep up to date with where we're at and what we're doing. And then we'll also be just adding some things to the park maintenance tab, photos, and I don't know if you all are on our social media, but we've been doing a better job of kind of posting photos about things that are going on in the parks, not just activity related, but tree removals and things of that nature. So we're going to continue to increase our social media presence. It's very important to me that we're out there telling our story and showing people what we're doing. I think that the more communication, we can push out, the better. Also, another exciting thing that I'm very proud of, Sean and his staff are working on. Nancy, she is assigned to the farmers market, and we're going to be implementing activities each week. So we used to do the Summer of Fun, and now we're going to be having some sort of activity at each market. It could be something very small, like an arts and crafts. Bi-weekly, sorry. We're gonna get to weekly. Okay. So we're starting bi-weekly. It's a good thing Sean's here. But sometimes there'll be smaller activities, sometimes there'll be larger activities, but it's just to kind of generate an ongoing interest in coming to the market. She's also been reviewing potential new vendors. She's going to be going out and seeing some of the different markets. She's taken a really active role in this, and she's frankly doing a great job. So I'm excited to see that kind of come to life a little bit. We're also really looking at re-engaging the teen center. I've asked staff to come up with monthly calendars of activities. We kind of have our ongoing classes that we do. We do a Dungeons and Dragons and a pickleball, but I've asked them to incorporate activities every day throughout the week, and that we're publishing what those things are so we can hopefully get kids coming back. And then we've replaced the nets at campus recently. Some of the nets that were in poor shape, and we've got mid-year budget, contract, we got a lot going on. So I just wanted to share that each month so you guys could get an idea of you know, what our big projects are. Also, you know, I do want to update the commission. I've had some questions about staff that have been out, and obviously for HIPAA laws and privacy reasons, we can't discuss. But I will tell you that the employees that are out, they're not in any serious, you know, danger. Everybody's doing okay, but we don't have yet any return dates. So we have moved people into acting positions. It's actually been quite a juggle in the department. We've got Joseph as our acting park superintendent. Rachel's our acting recreation superintendent. Sean has moved over to park maintenance. Linnea obviously moved over to the analyst position, so Joe is overseeing the pool right now. Devin's overseeing the clubhouse. And did I get everybody? Yes. So it's a lot of change. And then, of course, when people come back, it's going to all shuffle back. So it's been a very, very transitional time for the department. So I just appreciate the commission's support and understanding. I don't like that we've had to roll things over and over and over into next month, you know, months and months. But I think we're getting everything locked down now, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to share this. So your projects, your requests will show up on these lists as well. And that concludes my updates. You guys have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
I had a couple of things.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna ask about farmer's market also, because
Okay.
when I go to farmer's market in other cities, it seems like, you know, there's so many fresh vendors, and we just have a couple.
Right.
And wondering what the problem is. Is it, that we don't have enough attendance? Is it we don't have, you know, is it too expensive? Is it, you know, for them to come? I mean, I don't know, but, you know, I go over to Westchester, I go to Torrance, or go to different cities, they've got all these vendors, and we don't. Well, you know, we have a lot that you can come and purchase, the chicken and all of that, but not a whole lot of selection when it comes to our fruits and vegetables.
Right.
So I don't know if you have an answer to that, or that your new
Well,
marketing
no, all I
person's
can say is
looking into it.
Nancy, that we just put Nancy into the position, what, a month or two ago? So she's looking into all of that. I've made it pretty clear, I think, to her and Sean, that the commission would like to see more life at the market. And so, you know, one of the easy things we could do is activities, because I think it's both, right? I think people aren't coming because there's not a lot there, and then vendors don't really want to come because there's not a lot of attendance. So we're going to try and boost the interest in the community so that we can kind of create some bustle and excitement around it. And then Nancy's going to work on bringing in some new vendors. You know, our fees are absolutely reasonable, but it's on a Thursday evening. Thursday afternoon, a lot of people are, look, I'm only available on the weekend because I work full-time. A lot of the people, I went to the Manhattan Beach Hometown Fair, and I talked to almost every single person, and it was like, oh gosh, I can't do that, I work, or, you know, that's not a good time. So, you know, we're gonna continue working on it, but I'm really confident that we're gonna see some significant improvements, and again, just some reinvigoration into the market.
Right, okay. All right, and my other thing was, you know, we have different counts down here for, you know, attendance at Joslin Center, you know, the meals delivered and all of that. Would it be appropriate for us to get a trees count monthly, like on the number of trees that are taken out, but yes, we are replacing trees? Because a lot of times people think we're just taking trees out and we're not putting them back in. And when I drive around town, I drive by and I'm like, oh, there's like several trees
Right.
missing along the street. I'd like to see some kind of count that, you know, it's at least a 1-for-1, and maybe we could see some type of a tree count. And I think, you know, you had maybe a week or so ago posted on social media about some trees being planted. And I think if we see more of that, because people think that we're just chopping them down.
Right. No, I think we can definitely add that to the report, Joseph, no problem.
Okay,
You have a replacement list going, every tree? Every tree we do remove in the city, we replace it with one. And then we also have future projects where we plant trees throughout the parks once a year, so.
okay,
Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are times when that particular spot where the tree went out is not appropriate, and so you plant that tree in a different spot, so it looks like it's not being replaced, but you're putting it somewhere else, right?
Yes, that is correct. Sometimes we'll have to place a tree in another spot just because that last spot was in a desirable location. So
Right.
we'll find a desirable location for that tree.
right, okay. And then the other thing I thought, and it would, I mean, add more work, and it doesn't have to be done. But I think a nice thing to do for the Parks Department, because you have so many different employees, and you have high school kids, and you have college kids, and you have adults and everything working, is to do an employee or volunteer spotlight once in a while. That could be posted on social media, and also could be, the employee could come here, the volunteer could come here, and we could hear a little bit about their backstory and know about them, instead of just being, a park employee. And, and like the high school kids, where they're off to next, what they're wanting to do. Are they wanting to stick in recreation? Are they wanting to go in library? What are they gonna do? But I think it would be nice to have, an employee and volunteer spotlight.
Sorry, are we in commissioner comments now? Okay.
This was, I thought this would go under your,
Oh, okay, no.
That
if you
project
would-
thing.
if we're gonna add it under your commissioner comments.
okay,
And then that way. Because I agree, that's definitely something we can do, but I want it as a recommendation or a
Okay.
request from you.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have.
Definitely.
All right, anyone else?
Yeah,
Great.
two quick ones, I think. Just curious, what's the Blue Butterfly project you're on?
Oh, yes, go ahead, Joseph.
You threw it up, I'm curious.
Well, the Blue Butterfly Project is about planting native plants and the blue butterfly buckwheat to draw the blue butterfly back to El Segundo, because that's what it's known for. So presently, I met with the lady that's doing the design work for it. So we have two locations that she's presenting to me where she would like. One would be Library Park and Recreation Park. I advised her, I think the best location is Recreation Park because of the nature, and we were talking about providing a nature walk. So like up on the upper barbecue area, there's a hillside, creating a trail, and then which each cluster of plant material, the native plant material, we posted signs, and they could walk, and it'll identify each native plant and the blue butterfly plant, and just create a more adventurous walk. Where we do it at Library Park, it's more of a formal environment under the gazebo area, where when Recreation Park, it'd be more of a nature walk we would set up. So that's what we're talking about right now.
Awesome.
That's what the blue
And
butterfly.
that's staff directed.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. My other question was, film permits. Are we actively trying to draw filming at the parks now?
Yeah, so I'll comment on this. So the film permits are kind of a mixed bag. So they actually go through Hank Liu, who's the risk manager. And then if they are on park property, or have something to do with us, then they come over to us and we work jointly. I'm looking at the potential of us having a more active role in the film permits. I don't think we're capturing as much revenue as we should be. I think the impacts on the community, we really need to look at that. I don't know if anyone was around the high school today, but the filming really impacted the parking. And, they set up their own agreements with the school district, but I'd like to work in conjunction with the school district when that happens, because it impacts our residents, our streets, parking around the library. Another example is we had the filming over the winter and they brought that sign, and everybody loved the sign, and it was all over the Parents Network. Why aren't we keeping the sign? Well, the sign wasn't built to stay. So, these are the kind of conversations we can have with production up front. Yes, you can build this sign here, but we'd like to request to be able to keep it in city inventory, or, so that we can start having those conversations, at the onset. It is a very time-consuming project, so my staff you know, they want to make sure they have the time to do that and the support to do that. But it's definitely on my radar. In my last city, we oversaw film permits, and we were very active in seeking them out as a revenue generation stream. Our pool, our aquatics facility is amazing, and, you know, we had Speedo come and film there, and, you know, I want to make sure that we're generating a lot of revenue for that.
I actually saw that on the report about the Speedo
Yes.
film shoot. 2 questions.
Yes,
Was it all day?
no,
How many people do you think is displaced? And how was the revenue from it?
right. So the revenue wasn't as much as it probably should have been, so that's what we're working on. Because we have a rental fee, but we need to add filming fees specifically. So that if you're using a facility for a private birthday party or whatever, that's different than if you're Speedo. So that's,
Anytime we get displaced from our facilities,
Right.
we should be making a premium.
not,
And I think that's something that we've talked about, but
You can get a premium even without displacing.
if we're gonna talk about more filming within the city,
yes,
that should not be the model.
right.
Anyway, just
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yes,
Thank
so
you.
it's on the down the road list. Again, this is because we're so short-staffed and we're having so many projects. I wish we could do everything, but that's why I list it there, because it's on the radar. It's something we know we want to address.
I was bringing it up because I was excited about it, not because I was worried about it.
Yes,
Worried about it. Yeah,
yes.
Okay, just wanted to make
Yes.
sure it was clear, because they will pay
They will pay a
a
lot
lot
of money, right?
for one day. You can
And
make
we're close.
$15,000 or $20,000 in one day.
We're charming, we've got facilities,
Yeah.
we've talked about using the library, so.
I do agree with working with the school district, because that
Yes.
is what all the
Especially
film
right
companies, they go to,
They go to the school,
and so they can,
yeah. and
so
then
if you
they-
need any parks, you can.
Right, right. So, and I, you know, want to talk to the school district about if you approve a permit, really, can we have a parking plan? Can we talk about how this is going to impact? So it's, you know, those are discussions I have to have with the school district, but we're not there quite yet, but that's why it's on the radar.
Do you have a history dealing with film permits?
Yes.
Good, because with the county, whatever they said they were gonna bring in, you could pretty much double it.
Right,
And there needs to be boundaries, and there needs to be consequences, especially financial.
right.
Because they will try to abuse every contract they sign.
Right. That's why it's a big project and not something we
Yeah.
can push along quickly.
Okay, thank you.
I'm glad to hear the commission's in support of that, though.
This is a great list. Thanks for doing this.
You're very welcome.
I love the list, and the one that I see here, fee increases and new fees. When you're ready, I'm available.
Yeah. So we talked about this today. We actually had a meeting with the finance committee, the department head team did, and it looks like we've got support for raising fees, at least from a couple of the council members. So I will actually be bringing back some increases before annual budget. Usually we would take it during the annual budget, but I was asked to consider looking at some of the summer fees, which I would need to do that sooner than July 1. So we're going to look at the contract instructor, or the instructors, I'm sorry, using the park, all of the things that we've talked about, the shelters, the filming fees, all of those types of things.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else for Ally?
Were you going over the aquatics, this or no?
I wasn't going to go over it. If there's any questions, maybe Linnea can answer them for you.
I had a question with that. When it comes down to the membership sales, punch passes and membership passes, I'm wondering, should we have an El Segundo number and a Wiseburn number, just for data, so that we can kind of track that, you know, as it comes down for different things in the end with fees and replacement and all this, so that we see,
Tracking
Numbers,
purposes or
yeah.
putting those two things out separately.
yeah,
Wiseburn versus El Segundo.
right.
Yeah.
Doable.
We can do that.
One more time. Anything else?
And,
Take your time. I just want to make sure that everybody gets it out.
that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ally.
You're welcome.
Commissioner comments? Commissioner Watson, Kelly?
I just want to thank Ally for doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. That was really nice.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Stolnak, Julie?
I guess I already gave my comments, but I would, did it too early. But I would second that on Ally, on the great job that she's been doing.
Thank you. I have a great team.
Okay, Commissioner Loobs, Dave.
Good.
Vice Chairperson Lee Davis.
I'm good as well, thank you.
For this meeting, and I'm reading what it,
This meeting is.
and I can read. That's about the only thing I can do. All right, thank you. Thank you to staff, everyone. I needed some answers this week. I got them this week. And I'm just going to reiterate up here, if you have a question, don't wait till the meeting. That's a month. Just go call them up, email them. You'll get the response quickly. They're not afraid of you.
No.
So we might be afraid of them, but
Don't be.
no. But they're very responsive and they're very knowledgeable. So thank you, staff. And director's comments, we're back to you.
I don't think I have any additional comments. I'll follow up on everything that the commissioners brought up this evening. I'm glad to hear you like the updates and my list, so I'll continue bringing that. I don't have any further comments.
Well, thank you. And we'll adjourn to the March 15th, 2023 meeting.
See you then. All right. Good deal.